Let's get into it. Boys, welcome back to yet another week. We are into week number 5. Week number 4 really told us a lot about some teams. Okay. And I think that a lot of people, especially in this week, were very fortunate to get away with a W. First and foremost, David Krier versus Harsh. When you win with only 86 points, that can only mean one thing, that the other team either is just really bad or you got lucky. In this case, it could probably be both. Breyer's team, although I did have him in the top 6, I think this was the one week all season, with the exception of the first week of the season, where his team actually started to. It's interesting too, because Derrick Henry actually had his best game of the season, and everything else not so much. Now, what do I say about this? I still like some pieces in Crier's team. I just think that everything just went wrong this week, but he luckily got the W. So David Krier breaks even at 500, 2-2. Congrats. And is holding the number 6 seed as of right now. Here's another one. B Magic versus Rob Coffey, Mr. Coffey. It seems as if Mr. Coffey likes to win on even weeks and not. No, did I do it? Yes, I did that right. Mr. Coffey wins on even weeks. I guess he loses on all the odd weeks, though. So maybe an L's coming this week. I don't know. The B Magic team, look, lacking firepower. The two receivers have not lived up to expectations. Very boomer bust, and more bust than boom, which is why this team is fallen into 10th place as of right now. Talk about a record-setting performance. The 224 points by Jonathan Ahern against the champ Alex Matika. Both of these guys are now 500. This Jonathan Ahern team, what are we starting to buy into this? That's the biggest question mark here. Is this for real, or was this a fluke? This is one of the teams that's very hard to figure out week in and week out. It is literally the definition of a boom or bust team. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. Not necessarily a bad thing. Congrats on the dub. Speaking of disappointments, okay, the Dangerous Knights crew, led by Patrick Ryan, taking on David Sutton, the team that a lot of people are hyped up for, and I think the panic button is pushed. It is officially pushed, ladies and gentlemen. Even with Cooper Kupp, and I use this in parentheses, coming back, I'm officially pushing the panic button at 1-3. Not a lot of running back depth. The receiver depth is supposed to be good, and they laid a dud. And even if they were to hit, I don't know if it would have been enough. I mean, wishful thinking is wishful thinking, I guess. But that Dallas defense puts on yet another record-breaking performance, leaving the Dangerous Knights crew to 3-1. The Andre Jones team can breathe, okay? Whenever you're going against the Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce stack, and it does not hit, thank the fantasy gods, okay? That's all I'm going to say. Mahomes was held to only 15 fantasy points. Travis Kelce, where was he this whole game? I think they showed Taylor Swift more than Travis Kelce in that entire game. Not what you like to see. And in the game of the week, the number 1 seed and the number 2 seed go at it. Number 1 seed myself does prevail, 122 to 106. Although I must say, a little nerves with that Kenneth Walker 72-yard touchdown that got called back, because that was looking like it could have gotten very, very ugly. Needless to say, Puka Nacua showed us why he's the truth. Jamar Chase and the Bengals are struggling, which is why this did not lead up to a record-breaking performance. I want to give myself. I already sent out the video with the game ball going to Johnny, but I really, in all honesty, I know one week I say something about one team, the opposite happens. And I feel like every time I am down on a team, they prove me wrong the next week. Every time I'm high on a team, they prove me wrong next week. So this Johnny team that I had ranked outside the top 7, maybe that was some bulletin board material. Maybe they used that and said, you know what, F this guy. I don't care about his opinion. We're dropping 224 and breaking the single season record. Good material there. On the flip side, Patrick Ryan, happily married man now. Okay. With that being said, okay, this guy comes in. He's now 3-1. Very good winning record. but I did not have him in my top 6. And the reason being I was saying that was because of the starting receivers and Austin Eckler's health. Now, what do they do? How do they respond with that? 133. Granted, Dallas defense getting 32 points might not happen every week, but you better be thankful for when it does happen. Now, he is going to go up against me this week, so it's going to be very interesting to see how that matchup is about to unfold. But I think the biggest surprise, I guess, and the biggest disappointment as of right now, we're a quarter of the way there. I got to say the biggest disappointment is the David Sutton team at 1-3. They have not lived up to expectations. Um, yes, they lost J.K. Dobbins, understandably so. But I'm going to be honest with you, Kyron Williams has filled in very admirably in his absence. James Cook was traded. I don't know if I would have gotten rid of him for whatever. Tyreek Hill, other than week 1, has been he's been good. But last week, especially when you traded for Jalen Waddle, man, if you would have told me Braxton Berrios would be the leading receiver, I would have laughed at you. Needless to say, we've seen stranger things happen. By far, I think this is the biggest disappointment. And if Johnny's team is for real, this team needs to get it going ASAP. You cannot fall 1-4. That is the last thing you want happening. But I will say this right now. I think the biggest surprise, and I'm going to give the man credit for this, even though I had him ranked outside the top 6. Biggest surprise to me, I would say Johnny at 2-2. I mean, it's boom or bust. He's an honorable mention. But I will say Patrick. And the reason why I'm saying that is not because he has a better record than Johnny, but because the record is 3-1 without Austin Eckler playing since week 1. If you were to tell me, and especially when your starting receivers are T. Higgins and Drake London, if you told me those were your starting receivers and you didn't have Austin Eckler, I would assume you were 1-3 at this point. The fact that he is 3-1, that I don't care if he got lucky in a matchup or vice versa. Bottom line is, I like this team because they had Eckler, they had Jalen Hurts, and who was his 3rd round pick that I really liked? I'm drawing a blank here. Somebody help me. I don't remember. Bottom line is this. That is some impressive work, my friend. Okay? Bottom line, I mean, Austin Eckler, top 3 running back, and when he goes down and you don't have production behind him, man, give the guy some props, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm doing here. Okay? So I just wanted to say that right now. I think quarter of the season way, I think he has been surprising that he still has a winning record without his best running back on field. All right, boys. I'm going to say it right now. I think it's over for one of these teams. Moment of silence. That was a moment of silence. This is the silence of a defeated manager. Yeah. It's the silence of a defeated manager. And things did not go right. Now, I'm just going to give it an analysis really quickly because I had this in my power rankings, but I think this might be the 12th rated team. There were 3 teams that went hero RB or 0 RB, whatever. It depends on how you categorize it. He was one of the 3 teams that didn't take a starting running back until late round 4, late round 5, I believe. Round 4, okay? And they went receiver heavy early on. The issue, I think, here was that they went with all the hype guys that did not live up to the hype at their ADP costs. That's what it comes down to. If they revised everything and went this guy instead of this guy, I think things could be a little bit different at this point. The Aaron Rodgers injury was unfortunate. Chris Olave, he's been good, but not where you took him at. I mean, somebody would say, oh, you should have taken Devontae Adams over him. Rightfully so, I get it. I think that was a little bit of a reach, but DK Metcalf was then shipped off for Zay Flat. You know what? Desperate times come from desperate measures. The Andre Jones team sitting at 3-1. I think, again, I had this team ranked at 6. There's some pieces I like on this team, and then there's some pieces I don't like on this team. Let's get into it. Well, Mac Jones versus Tua. I mean, slam dunk. Tua and the Dolphins go against the New York Giants defense, which is absolutely atrocious. They cannot generate any pressure. Even when they send guys, it gets picked up. which probably tells me that there's no creative blitz packages. They know where it's coming from. And if they get an extra guy in there to block, this defense is getting torched. Tua, 23 points against the New York Giants. He will bounce back very big for Andre Jones in this one. I'm going to say 35 points. The only thing that does concern me, though, is they're getting a little bit more balanced as far as touchdowns are concerned, because these running backs are looking phenomenal for Miami right now. CeeDee Lamb, Michael Thomas getting the start. Chris Olave and Tank Dell. Here is my... You know what? Bold take. I think Harsh has the advantage. I don't like Michael Thomas. No, thank you. CeeDee Lamb, he's okay. No, he'll get his own. Olave against New England, it could be dangerous. I don't have a good call, good lean on that. I like Tank Dell against Atlanta, though, to bounce back very smoothly. But Tank Dell is clearly the number 2 behind Nico Collins. Bijan Robinson and Ramondre Stevenson versus Zach Moss and Dameon Pierce. Well, not a good matchup for Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor's there, so eliminate him. Dameon Pierce, this could be a good matchup. Okay, Andre Jones. I don't know what the hell is wrong with you, but you need to get the Ramondre Stevenson off your team. He's not good. He's either hurt or he's not good. He has not looked good. Get him off your team. You don't want any New England Patriot. Bottom line. I think for right now, because of his draft capital, if there's somebody who's in desperate need of a running back, I would definitely come knocking on their door for him. In fact, I would take Nico Collins rest of the season over Ramondre Stevenson. I would probably take Puka Nacua. Those are the obvious answers. Okay, maybe not so obvious, but I'm going to even give out a shocker right here. Tank Dell, I probably would have rest of the season for fantasy points over Ramondre Stevenson. This guy's he's not cutting it. Jacoby Myers, I would take over Ramondre Stevenson. There's a lot of guys. I do not want this guy on my team. Now, where I draw the line, because Ramondre is a guy who's getting volume but looking like poop with it. He's kind of got Rachaad White syndrome. So if you're happy with 8 to 10 a week, cool. But for when you took him in the 3rd round compared to Johnny's 7th round pick of Rachaad White, Johnny wins that battle. I think this guy should be sold for... You can try for a wide receiver 2 price, but I don't even know if you can get that at this point. Bijan Robinson against Houston could go off, but you know what? Bijan Robinson's upside will always be limited because he plays for the Falcons, who like to mix and match, and Arthur Smith likes to get scrubbed involved. That sucks. Evan Ingram or Jake Ferguson. Give me Evan Ingram. Najee Harris with Mitchell. No. Brian Robinson, I like. Brian Robinson could be your highest scoring running back this week. In fact, he should be your running back too the rest of the season, dude. I know you don't like it. I didn't like it either, but he's good. Garrett Wilson against Denver. Maybe Zay Flowers against Pittsburgh. Harsh, this is what I was trying to tell you, bro. I know we've been critical about DK Metcalf, but I would have not sold him for Zay Flowers. The bottom line is this. They are not treating Zay Flowers on any long routes at all. I think his role is all dink and dunk, dink and dunk. And again, you're getting a fancy Elijah Moore. That's what you traded DK Metcalf for. With that being said, I honestly like the Brian Robinson side. All right. Do we really need to go further with this one? I don't think so. Bottom line is this. This Harsh team is defeated inside and out. They do not feel good. The only thing that Harsh does have going for him, I will say, and I know it's going to be too late, is that there's a lot of lottery tickets on this team that could wind up paying off. As far as the Andre Jones, International Jones. I think Tua having a big game should put him over the top. My final score prediction in this one is going to be Andre Jones. I'm going to say he breaks. Andre Jones, I'll say 113. And the Vintage Harsh team, 72. Well, from one team who felt really crappy about their situation last week to a man who I witnessed firsthand experience absolute dominance. And you talk about one of the biggest fantasy boners I have ever seen. Sorry, I took a sip of coffee and I realized that explosion left me speechless, Johnny. That's where all that silence took me out of. Congrats. I know I said it again, but like this is impressive, man. That record was held for 10 freaking years. He finally breaks it. Well done. I mean, bravo. Bravo. The most impressive thing about that whole explosion is that Rashad fucking White was in that starting lineup. Unbelievable. Boys, let's get into it. B Magic versus J Fresh. J Fresh, the heavy favorite, 112 to 97. Brock Purdy against Dallas. Purdy's been looking good, but in real life, he's very inaccurate. I know fantasy, it looks good on the paper and da 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 da. Josh Allen against Jacksonville in London. Josh Allen, you know what? He made people believe again because I was not a big Josh Allen supporter coming into this year. I thought that he would be the guy of the elite group out of the AFC quarterbacks, but Burrow is hurt. Lamar's looking okay, but I felt like the Bills were done. The Bills are not done. They're going to get, oh, and look at this. Look at this cakewalk. Jacksonville win. Giants win. New England win. Tampa win. Oh my God, they're not going to lose another game until week 12. What? People are going to start buying back on the Bills Mafia train again, Jay. Is that what you're trying to tell me? Well, how did the Bills play in London? They'll do just fine. Give me Josh Allen. Calvin Ridley and Deebo Samuel. Okay, Calvin Ridley. Sorry, Jay, I'm going to have to quote the Podfather because a lot of people were right. And thank God I did not take this guy because I do not want people who have been out for football for more than a year and a half. It's just a no-no for me. Week 1, he fooled us all. He fooled us all in week 1. But Christian Kirk, Johnny, that's where you were wrong with. I told you Kirk was not done by week 1. Kirk is back. And he is probably the only Jacksonville passing attack guy you want to own. Sorry, B Magic. I'm just a little frustrated that this guy hasn't done anything since week 1. Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel. Okay. It's official. When Brandon Ayuk is in the lineup, this guy doesn't do crap. Do we need clarification? No, I didn't think so. Sorry, Jay. I'm a little fed up right now. DJ Moore. How do you do? Well, I had went out and said that I didn't want this guy. I think he's more of a boomer bust 3, and then he goes out and puts up 20-plus points. Granted, against the Denver D, that, and by the way, it showed Pat Surtain did not shadow him the whole game because they don't respect the Bears. Nico Collins against Atlanta. I think people are starting to say that like when he has a good matchup, he's going to go off. Almost like AJ Green syndrome. Like that was my thing with AJ Green. When AJ Green went against a guy who was an elite corner, he didn't do shit. But when he went against cake matchups in his prime, dude, he would always ball out. I hate to say it, I think that's Nico Collins. Now, Nico, okay, the only game he hasn't looked good in was Jacksonville. Now, I'm trying to say to myself, okay, well, does Jacksonville have any good, like, corners? And, excuse me, I don't think it's any shutdown guys. But anyway, Atlanta. The only concern I have for Nico Collins in this game is time of possession. If there's one team I don't want my fantasy players going up against, it's the Atlanta Falcons because when they hold the ball and if they're running the ball, they're going to kill that shit for at least 8 minutes minimum. And I hate that because it limits opportunities. Now, with that being said, CJ Stroud looks awesome. Nico Collins looks awesome. Great job. Oh, yeah. And if you can clearly, oh, by the way, you know what? I don't want to just skip over DJ Moore. DJ Moore has had 3 good games, 1 crappy game. 3 with double digits at least. I know the Kansas City one was garbage time. It's against Washington. Emmanuel Forbes deactivated his Twitter account because A.J. Brown cooked him on pretty much every deep bomb. DJ Moore is not A.J. Brown, but can DJ Moore cook Emmanuel Forbes? Probably. Who am I going with here, Jay? I'm going with you, buddy. Will DJ Moore have another good game? Yeah, and then I think I would have to put him over my wide receiver 2 tier. But on the low end, I cannot put him at the high wide receiver 2. I'm not convinced yet. Tony Pollard, Joe Mixon. Oh, God. Versus Christian McCaffrey and Latavius Murray. Nice spot start. Yeah, give me the genocide. George Kittle versus Mark Andrews. Kittle, dude, does this guy play football anymore? Mark Andrews, 2 touchdown performance. He gets Pittsburgh with Mitchell Trubisky. Baltimore should pour it on. I like his chances. Michael Gallup and Curtis Samuel. These are the definition of dart throws. Marquise Brown and Adam Thielen. Okay, finally, Johnny. He's in your lineup. This is a guy you talked after the draft. I love Marquise Brown, but you never started him. Johnny, what we're looking at here is, and I tried to tell you, I think I told you at your house. Quote me on this, because I remember I told you, I said, Josh Dobbs can make somebody relevant. Josh Dobbs is not a franchise quarterback. He's not a guy who's going to wow you with anything, but he can sustain a wide receiver. What's he doing here? He's sustaining Marquise Brown. Adam Thielen against Detroit. I think the Detroit defense might be for real. It's weird saying that, and I know I probably need some more data on this, but as far as how they've played so far, I don't got anything else to say about them. Who am I going with? Marquise Brown and Adam Thielen, or Michael Gallup, Curtis Samuel? I mean, it's pretty obvious. Give me Marquise Brown, Adam Thielen. Washington D, Baltimore D. B Magic, I think Washington's defense could probably make you feel really great Thursday night. But then on the flip side, you got Mitch Trubisky against Baltimore. Oh boy. B Magic, I just want to say, buddy, unless Calvin Ridley and Debo Samuel get 40 plus combined, it's gonna be a long day for you, buddy. And I gotta be honest with you, B Magic. I was not big on the Johnny team. And the Johnny team is, this will tell. If Johnny comes out and he doesn't have to put up 224, but if this man gets at least 120 this week, I think we can wake up and realize that this has worked out for him. Oh my God. Boys, what's going on? I know we are not in good spirits. Funny thing, I totally forgot about this matchup. I didn't intentionally forget it too. I love you boys both. Boys, you're both sitting at 1-3. David, you rolled the dice on the gamble on Cooper Kupp, and it hasn't paid off. You're getting him back. I don't think he plays this week. Paul, I don't think you knew what to do with that pick, and I think you thought you were getting value. Travis Kelce gets hurt. Jalen Waddle has been a disappointment. Amon St. Brown was your best pick, and he wasn't even, that good. God Almighty, this is interesting because I think I'm more like Paul. I was not huge on your team after the draft. I will say this right now. Johnny was very big on your team. We had that discussion. Sutton, I still put you at 2. I think I got to drop you at this point because I don't have a lot of confidence in Cooper Kupp. Gentlemen, are we ready? Paul, you ready, big guy? Paul's you're the favorite. All right, here we go. Stafford versus Philly and Mahomes. So here's the interesting about Matt Stafford. He leads the league in passing yardage, but he doesn't have a lot of touchdowns. Something's got to give, right? Problem is, Kyron Williams is taking everything. Like, this dude's just fucking scoring. Kyron Williams has been a very surprising waiver wire ad, and I got to be honest, that pickup alone might save David's sanity. Stafford against Philly or Mahomes against Minnesota. Now, Philly's defense has been very shaky, but I'm going Mahomes against Minnesota, Paul. Paul, if you really thought I was going Stafford, I wasn't. Okay, Paul, this is where you're going to get pissed off. Tyreek and Jalen versus Cortland Sutton and Terry McLaurin. Paul, you already know where I'm going. Hill and Waddle. I will say, Paul, for where you got Terry McLaurin, excellent. Reason why I'm saying this, okay? Terry McLaurin was always overrated as a 3rd and 4th round pick, but because of the injury news, you got him at a value, I think, in 6. I might have taken Dotson over him, which obviously is looking like a shit fucking idea. He looks a lot healthier. He's making those catches. And again, I think, guys, this goes back to, and this is something that I learned, like, just because they have a guy behind the guy doesn't automatically mean he's going to ascend that guy. That was the mistake I made with Jahan Dotson. Yeah, I just wanted that point to be out there. The Dolphin stack will be all right. Kyron and Javonte, so the Williams boys taking on James Cook against Jacksonville should be okay. Barkley against Miami. Dude, I don't even. Paul, why? Okay. Paul. I don't know why you did that. I think you would have been fine with Matt. I don't like Madison, Paul, but I think you would have been fine with him as an RB2 if you kept what the hell is his name? Amon St. Brown. Yeah, for an injured Barkley who is on a team that can't even block. I'm not about it, Paul. I'm sorry. Okay, so Kyron Williams if he plays. So the problem is Philadelphia is very stout against the run. Kyron Williams gets a lot of volume, and now he's dinged up. I think Ronnie Rivers is going to start getting involved, which is why I spent $26 on him. Kyron Williams is not a workhorse running back, and he's being treated like a workhorse running back. Now, it's great for fantasy, but in real life, this guy is like a third down back at best. Javonte Williams. He's another guy who might not play. Funny thing is, Paul, you might have a chance because his backs might not even play, which means that David Sutton. Paul, I'm sorry. I know you're into the matchups. David, you know I love you, buddy. Unless you really think you can make it going 1-4 when you lose this week, I think you should trade Cooper Kupp immediately for just depth. Because unfortunately, Jeff Wilson comes back too. But I don't think that's going to be relevant yet, right? Anyway, um, Paul, I'm going you. I don't like Kyron Williams matchup. I don't like Javonte Williams matchup even if they play. And if they don't, slam dunk for you, Paul. Travis Kelce or Laporta. Paul Kelce. Wow, he actually got 9 points. I thought he got like 4. Against Minnesota's great. Laporta. Nice. I'll go Kelce though. Hopkins and Tutu Atwell. Tyler Boyd. Ugh. Alexander Madison. Madison has a decent matchup. Hopkins doesn't. Tutu Atwell. He came crashing back down to earth. Hopefully it gets better for him. Houston. Oh, you got a Houston D. Good pickup. Or New Orleans D. I love New Orleans D, and I like Houston D, but I'm gonna go New Orleans by like a hair. Okay, Paul. I'm gonna make this easy for you. Hill and Waddle will probably get around 40 minimum, but I don't think everybody else on David's team does anything. So, Paul, if Mahomes can get 30 and Kelce catches 1 touchdown, knowing that those Dolphin boys are going to go off, I don't have a lot of confidence in David's team this week. All you need to do is Patrick Mahomes needs to be Patrick Mahomes. Travis Kelce needs to catch one of those touchdowns because even though like I don't like anybody else on David's team this week. Paul, bottom line is this. Both your seasons are in jeopardy because you can't fall 1-4. With that being said, my man, Paul, you're projected to be the favorite, and I think rightfully so. I don't like David's matchups this week other than the Dolphins guys. This one comes down to matchups, and I think, Paul, you have the better matchups. The only guy that I think will bust for Paul, Tyler Boyd, because he's not relevant, and Courtland Sutton. Divisional matchup comes in between these two teams, both sitting at 2-2, and I must say that early in the draft process, I was not big on both of these teams. Now, the interesting thing with one of them is that I think I awoken the beast in them. Okay. The other guy, okay, this guy loses both of his first starting running backs. One's out for the year. The other, we don't know how long. Somehow was able to flip him for Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't know what you did to Paul. Paul, that one, it must have been the Homer Giants take. Like, why did he do that? I have no effing idea. Alex Matika, congratulations on the move because honestly, I think you might not have any running back problems if your receivers can get going. Lamar Jackson or Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins came back to earth, but this is a team that they're going against in the Kansas City Chiefs that are going to pour on points, so he's going to have to throw it. Lamar's going to be just fine, Matika, but I'm going to actually no, am I going? Yeah, I'll go Kirk Cousins over Lamar Jackson. Jerry Jeudy, bust. And Amon-Ra St. Brown. Not a bust. But again, I think that he's sustaining he's already what we thought he was. He's not ascending to the next level, but he's good. He's good. I think a lot of people thought he was going to be a top 3 pick this year, and I think that's just asinine. Michael Pittman Jr. and Christian Watson. Now, these guys have tremendous matchups. Without question, I'm big on Christian Watson and I'm big on Michael Pittman. I'm going David Krier. David, you're probably listening to this being so fucking pissed right now. I'm sorry, buddy, but I like these matchups. Speaking of, DeAndre Swift and Devon A-Chain, whatever. He's got a cool last name. Josh Jacobs and Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry looked, okay, I don't want to use the term looked because he looks like he has no burst anymore. The fact of the matter is he's getting volume, which is sustaining his fantasy relevance. Josh Jacobs got so many catches with Aiden O'Connell because he doesn't know how to read a defense yet. I don't think that's ever happening again. Jacobs against Green Bay is a good matchup, though. I think we can definitely say that. And Derrick Henry against Indy is a solid matchup. Swift against the Rams is a solid matchup. A-Chain against the Giants might be the best matchup, though. I am going to take a stand and go with Alex Matika. I don't like Derrick. I'm sorry. I can't get over Derrick Henry on the decline. And look, he can get volume, all right? Sorry, but I like the other two guys. Goddard or Hawkinson. Rashid Shaheed. Jonathan Taylor, if he plays, not in a good matchup. Miles Sanders, Raheem Mostert. Ooh, okay. This is interesting. Miles Sanders, no thank you. Raheem Mostert, thank you. Flip side, Shaheed, no. Jonathan Taylor, cool. But it's against Tennessee. Most ferocious run D the Galaxy has ever seen, right? Oh, and by the way, the defenses are a wash. Well, okay. I have to go through the touchdown checker on this, and the reason why I'm saying this is because I honestly can't make a decision about who I really want in this matchup. Let's say I think Lamar is good for 3 touchdowns. So on the Alex side, 3 for Lamar. Yeah, I'll give 1 to Amon-Ra. So that's 4. DeAndre Swift, no. I think he gets over 100, though. A-Chain, 5. I say 5 combined touchdowns on that total team, not counting yardage. Krier, Cousins, 3 touchdowns. Michael Pittman Jr., 1 touchdown. Christian Watson, 1 touchdown. So already you matched 5. Can Jacobs get a touchdown? Yes. Can Henry get a touchdown? Yes. Can Hawkinson get a touchdown? Yes. Can Mostert get a touchdown? Well, that depends. How does the split look? I think Mostert's fumble let him in the doghouse, and then what? Dude, it's yeah, fuck it. Mostert 1 touchdown. And based on my touchdown tracker, I gotta go with David Krier. The thing that I think, I don't like Miles Sanders, but the thing that's interesting here is that I think that, Matika has got a projected of 101 and he's got 110. So I'm interested to see how this shit fucking plays out. Bottom line, Krier. You know what? I'm going to pump the brakes. I honestly thought this could have been the match of the week by records, but projection-wise, it doesn't deserve to be it, so I might put Allen and Coffey as the match of the week. Well, Patrick Ryan, Patrick Leo, we're both sitting at 3-1, and we want top space for the right to be the crowned king of the division. Obviously, for right now. Well, Mr. Patrick Leo, wish you the best of luck. Obviously, you're missing your guy Austin Eckler on a bye. I'm missing Keenan Allen on a bye, so we're not going to have Chargers. I could throw out Deshaun Watson's name, but I don't think we need to do that. We're not going to do that, even though our team name is named after the running backs. Ladies and gentlemen, matchup begins. Jalen Hurts, who I have not lost faith in Jalen Hurts all year. He looks like the guy you thought you were getting. Him and A.J. Brown, man. Dude, honestly, Patrick Ryan, you stole Jalen Hurts from me. So, dude, the reason I took A.J. Brown was I wanted that stat. Hey, it's okay. I'm not going to let it get to me. Not yet. All right, what are we doing? I'll tell you what we're doing. Yeah. Jalen Hurts versus Josh Dobbs. Who thought this would come down to this? Well, here's what I'm going to say. Josh Dobbs looks serviceable. Other than the 1 point performance against the Washington Commandos, this guy's been competent. Now, I could realistically go Sam Howell against the Bears, but I don't like starting people on Thursday night, especially after they came gassed in overtime. I'm going Josh Dobbs, and I don't feel terrible about it. He's only projected 14. Realistically, I think he gets 18 points. If he gets more than that, awesome. But he's not outperforming Jalen Hurts. Steph Diggs versus Jacksonville. Drake London against Houston. AJ Brown, Brandon Ayuk. Ayuk has been what you wanted, and he has been your best receiver all season long. Brandon Ayuk is a stud. This is a guy I was totally wrong about. I did not want any Niners guys, but when he's been healthy, he's been consistent. Every game that he's finished, he's gotten over double-digit points. So take that with what you want to do with it. Diggs and Brown exploded last week. Now, usually my theory is if a guy explodes the week before, they hit their floor the next week. They don't go off. And I can honestly see that because the matchups aren't. It's more with Diggs, I think, than Brown. But I'll take my guys just because I don't like Arthur Smith and using Drake London. If we had points per block, bro, you'd be amazing. Aaron Jones, can he get off the schneid against the Vegas Raiders? I hope so. James Conner, this guy scares me. James Conner is still getting volume. He looks really good, and it's against a Bengals defense that looks like they're about to tank any minute now. Khalil Herbert, I don't feel great about Khalil Herbert. I'm going to be 110% honest. I know he had 20 points, but the Redskins, Washington defense, how do they look this year? 18th, so they're kind of middle of the pack. I really don't want to start this fucking guy. Just to put it lightly, man. But I don't really have any better options. I'd rather play him than some of the other guys. I'm trying to remember who Washington went against running back wise. James Conner got 10 points. I don't know if James Cook did much of anything week 2. Who did they play week 2? They were 2-0. Denver. They were okay. James Cook week 3 was okay, and then week 4, I don't think Swift did anything. That 7 points, it's kind of what I expect. Isaiah Pacheco looked amazing. Tyler Higbee versus Zach Ertz. Fuck it, dude. How the fuck should I know? Draw. George Pickens with Mitchell Trubisky, I have no confidence in. T. Higgins, if he plays, I mean, I'd probably take him over George Pickens. Michael Wilson's a sleeper. This is definition of dart throws, dude. Jets D versus Dallas D. Dallas D looks amazing, but can he stop Purdy and Christian McCaffrey? They might be able to get some sacks. Jets D, they looked great against Patrick Mahomes. Can they make Russell Wilson look like a bitch? Probably. All right, Patrick Ryan, Patrick Leo. How do I break this down? It's going to be our lowest scoring game all season long that we're going to have from our competitors. But I think any of us really needs to walk away with this victory. And rightfully so. All right. Patrick Ryan, Patrick Leo. I think you have the advantage with Hurts. Ayuk will have a good game. Connor will have a good game. If I'm banking on Pacheco to have a good game, that's going to be hard for me to top with some of these guys. Because I think if Diggs and Brown and Jones are kind of the only guys I'm confident in, and everything else is kind of like coin flip, coin flip, coin flip. The only game I was not able to predict successfully, I've called all my games correct so far. The game I knew I was going to lose, I did lose. Now, I think I can exploit you because you don't have Eckler, which is fine. But man, oh man, I do not feel good about some of these guys on my team. Fuck it. You know what? Scare money don't make no money. Patrick, let us have a fantastic matchup without our best players. Well, not without our complete teams. Excuse me. Let me rephrase that. Best of luck to you, buddy. All right. I really wanted to put this as the matchup of the week. Um, no more undefeated teams. But I think these two teams definitely have playoff potential. Um, the power ranking radar is pointing up for one guy. I don't know what to think about this team anymore. I have not done a total 180, but I've tempered my expectations with one of these teams. And I know this man was very humble. Um, but the master plan from the Allen Williams team has not taken full effect yet. Maybe there's something that I'm missing. Alan, you can text me all you want. Rob Coffey team. Okay, there were two teams that really successfully nailed hero RB or zero RB. It was the Rob Coffey team and myself so far. Knock on wood. Let's make sure everything goes well. Here we go. Anthony Richardson against Tennessee versus CJ Stroud. Stroud's been awesome, but Anthony Richardson is a cheat code, so I got to go Richardson. Christian Kirk and Devonta Smith. Kirk's matchup against Buffalo is perfect. Devonta Smith against the Rams shouldn't be an issue. But again, no. You know what? No, he'll be fine. Jaden Reed against Vegas, fine. Puka Nakua, he'll be just fine too. So, Nicholas, who do I have to pick? I'm going to go the Coffee side. The fact that Calvin Ridley has looked like who we thought he was going to be after 2 years after missing football. Kirk looks decent. Devonta Smith, even with A.J. Brown balling out right now, Smith has still had a solid floor. The only thing I will say, okay, so the Tampa game, we knew Devonta Smith wasn't going to do shit because A.J. Brown bitched and told everybody how he wanted the ball. Washington, his floor, that's the thing. Devonta Smith's floor, I think, is like 10, 11 points if he doesn't do anything. I'm not counting the Tampa Bay game because we all knew A.J. Brown was going to get fed. Right? Anybody got any beef with that? Nope. Nope. Okay. Puka's awesome, but I got to go to the other two guys. Brees Hall. So the Jets need to realize this, that Dalvin Cook sucks. He shouldn't be on the field. Brees Hall, look, your season's on the line. You can't save this guy anymore. I think Coffey, if you're listening, this is the week. If it's not the week, Coffey, this is a lost running back. David Montgomery. 3 touchdowns, baby. Alvin Kamara and Jahmyr Gibbs. Well, Kamara against New England, he might get the same stat line, 14 catches for like 20 yards. And Jahmyr Gibbs against Carolina, look, bottom line is this. It's David Montgomery's team. He's taking a back seat. This might be one of the worst picks in the second round. I know there's still time, but if you're asking me how do I feel about Jahmyr Gibbs, I feel like shit right now. Allen, I think, do I have Gibbs in another league? No, I do not. I do not own a single share of Jahmyr Gibbs this year. I have David Montgomery in another league, but give me honestly, I'm taking the Coffee side strictly because of David Montgomery, Darren Waller, and Luke Musgrave. Talk about busts. I don't care. It's a wash. Jefferson and Adams versus Chase and Addison. This is a slam dunk. Jefferson and Adams. Detroit D, good pickup. Coffee versus Miami D. What? ETN, yeah, ETN hasn't looked good. I'm surprised ETN's on the bench. Addison, you're relying on the deep bomb for him to connect, which I think could probably happen. The one guy that's missing out of this Allen Williams lineup that was supposed to be good, Kenneth Walker, but I don't think it's enough. I actually think that I'm going to say this right now. I think the Rob Coffey team has potential now. Dude, this might be bulletin material for you, Alan, but this could be blowout of the week. I'm sorry. I said it. Why? CJ Stroud looks awesome. Kirk is the number one by default because Ridley sucks. Devonta Smith will be fine. I think Brees Hall gets going. David Montgomery has a great week. Justin Jefferson goes off against Kansas City. And Devontae Adams in a revenge game scenario. What's not to love here, right? No pun intended for Jordan Love. Blowout of the week. Yeah, Coffee, I know you don't want to hear it. Alan, I think you put up one. What am I going with? 117. Coffee, I think you have a really good week, 168.